And I want to go back to the days of Hanover Central when a young Allen was playing sports and see what his stats were. That's what I want to see.
Well, my junior year in baseball, I started 0 for 36, so that should be any kind of inclination. It wasn't great. Hello and welcome to this episode of Spotlight 219, sponsored by Horseshoe Casino Hammond, offering a premier gaming and entertainment experience in Northwest Indiana. Spotlight 219 is presented by The Times and Local 219 and is a show dedicated to highlighting trending topics and really cool things happening around the region weekly. With opening weekend for prep football on tap this Friday, we are joined with Times President Tom Schager to talk about a new, innovative element to their prep sports coverage this fall, and Times Sports Writer Grace Opinker to give us a preview of the DAC Conference and some games of the week. So let's get started. Our first guest spearheads the Times and is here to chat about what lies ahead for prep sports coverage in the fall, including some awesome new developments. Times President, Mr. Tom Schager. Tom?
Alan, how you doing? And yes, thank you. I'm very thankful that I'm going before Grace. She is very tough to follow, and she's doing amazing work for us. So thanks for inviting me on, Ellen. Yeah, we have been partnering with our friends at the JED TV Sports Network over the last few years, working together on new ways to get more local news out there, more local sports coverage in the community. So we've been collaborating for quite some time, and we're at a place now where we're working with them on delivering even more coverage of high school sports in Northwest Indiana and to everybody all over the country who has Northwest Indiana roots. So we're excited that this is kicking off, the fall season is kicking off our contribution to that coverage. So what we're starting with is the Northwest Crossroads Conference, and we're teaming up with JED TV because they have full coverage of that conference with amazing streaming coverage for all of those schools. And truly, their broadcast experience is really setting the standard in the U.S. for how this could be done. And so we wanted to make sure we're doing everything we could to amplify their efforts. We have great print coverage, great digital coverage. Grace is a huge part of that. But for a conference that is as center cut in Lake County and Northwest Indiana, and also Jasper County, we saw just an opportunity to go much deeper into the type of coverage we can provide. So we're putting the word out on the Northwest Crossroads Conference, fall high school sports, and we're promoting the live game coverage streamed across JED TV. But you can also go on our website, nwi.com, and our collective social media. The Times has 162,000 follows, so a lot of people are already on there to see a lot of these games. So it's a very unique combination of digital, of social, of print, and it ensures for one of the few places around the country that everybody can get access to amazing content for all the high schools, well, for at least these 8 high schools that people have a lot of pride in.
Yeah, well, speaking of that pride, it has my alma mater, Hanover Central, in it, which is really cool. My alma mater from a coaching background, Andrean High School, is in it. It's a conference that's near and dear to my heart. It's probably my favorite conference in the region. And I'm saying that publicly, I guess, but it's just an exciting development. And I think especially going back into 10 years ago, where athletic directors of this area were maybe a little bit against airing some of the games live, it's really cool to see the innovation and the growth, especially in your coverage and what you've got going on, and being able to bring those games maybe to the people that can fanatically root on their squad and their team, or they can follow it if they're not being able to go to a lot of the games.
No, that's right. That's right. And the number one ask that I consistently hear as it relates to content is, how can we get more coverage of the community and of high school sports specifically? It just is something that has always been asked, and people are really craving for it. So yeah, so to be able to go and watch these games on the JED TV platform, on Times, go to the social media, and you could watch these games on your phone, on your laptop, on your TV, in your living room. It's just amazing. And if you miss a game, you could go back. If you're like me and you want to watch the critical plays in a game, or just stare at your kid who's participating in the high school experience, you can do that too. So an exciting time to be a part of it. And in fact, there's a game in a couple hours. The Ileana Christian High School versus the Marquette High School volleyball game is going to be streaming at 4:30. So
wow.
You don't have to wait long. Yeah.
So what does it look like if you're trying to stream some of these games? What does it look like for the viewer?
It is a really great experience, and that's what the Jed TV folks have done. It feels, like almost like a college or pro experience. You're going to hear announcers. You're going to get, in most cases, a great view of the game and everything that you would expect out of it. So for those parents out there and those kids who can't make it to a game or want to go back and watch it, it's really great.
Well, I'm gonna task you with one project I'd like to take on, Tom.
What's that?
I want to be able to spearhead the back end of being able to get live statistics going week to week.
Okay, you want to go deep.
I want to go deep. I want to know who's leading the region in rushing. I want to know who's leading it in passing yards, touchdowns, tackles, interceptions.
Well, we're going to do everything we can to deliver that. And I want to go back to the days of Hanover Central when a young Allen was playing sports and see what his stats were. That's what I want to see. Well,
my junior year in baseball, I started 0 for 36, so that should be any kind of inclination. It wasn't great.
You're ruining the fun.
It's TV. I know you can only believe half of what's on the internet, but that's a real fact. So, Tom, thank you. I know you're a busy person. You're kind of running around through a bunch of different markets. Thank you for joining and taking the time and really kind of propping up this high school football season, which everyone's looking forward to.
Yeah, and it's not just football, right? It's across a lot of different sports. So we'll be sharing more along the way. But Alan, thanks for having me on, and Grace, thanks for all that you do for sports.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom.
Take care.
So before we get to our next guest, let's hear a word from our sponsor. Our next guest is one of my favorite reoccurring personalities on the show, and she's here to give us a preview of the DAC with also some of the games of the week that she's going to be covering. Time Sports Writer Grace Opinker. Grace.
Hey, Alan, thanks so much for having me. And Tom, thank you for the kind words. I'm excited for the season to kick off tomorrow night.
Well, you joined last week. We talked a little bit of a preview of the NCC. Tom just kind of covered the NCC a little bit and what that coverage means for you guys. Hit us with some DAC. I know people are really into it.
Obviously, the DAC is one of the most competitive conferences, if not the most competitive conference in Northwest Indiana. I mean, for starters, you have Crown Point, who is a favorite across the region just for their pure domination in recent years. The Bulldogs senior class have never lost a regular season football game, which I think is pretty crazy. I mean, imagine walking the halls saying, I've never lost a regular season game. And although they graduated the Times Offensive Player of the Year, Noah Ehrlich, they return a slew of talent, including Indiana football commit, linebacker and tight end Trevor Gibbs, and he was our Defensive Player of the Year last year, actually. Maryville's another top team in the region, year in and year out. They lost to Warsaw in semi-state last year, but they return one of their running backs, J.Q. Johnson, who rushed for more than 1,100 yards and had 17 touchdowns as a junior.
Wow.
Coach Brad Cease for Maryville is also projected to hit 100 career wins this fall. He enters the season with a 96, so I think that'll be pretty interesting to see a little further down the road this season and watching him make that achievement. Valpo has had a solid season year in and year out. They were pretty strong last year until they lost to Maryville in the regional championship, but I expect big things from them this fall. Same with Michigan City. They kind of struggled last year. They finished 3-7, but they should have a solid set of returners. I mean, they have Northern Illinois commit Zaire McKinney. They have a Portage transfer, Daquan Fields. I think they're set to have a successful season. You have Lake Central, who has struggled in recent years. They haven't had a winning season since 2014, but they returned starting quarterback Cameron Reddick, who's committed to the Air Force. And then you have Portage and LaPorte. Portage finished 4-6 last year, but they returned their starting quarterback. LaPorte hasn't won a regular season game since the 2023 season, but I think with some young players, they're pretty hopeful for a better shot this year. I know we're going to touch on some games coming up tomorrow night, so I'm going to hold off some of my thoughts on Chesterton.
Okay. Well, I think it's a great reminder, even hearing you kind of explain between the conference of what to kind of look for, because that conference has got so many big schools. It's so competitive year in and year out. The margin of error is so limited. Really cool. Is it going to be, when it comes to like the NCC stuff and DAC, you're talking about this weekend, opening weekend of high school football. What are some games of the week? What's the Times game of the week? And what are some other games you might have had circled to kind of go check out?
So tomorrow night, I will be at Hobart with our photographer, John Watkins. The Brickies host Chesterton for our game of the week that won in the public's poll last night. Chesterton beat Hobart in last year's season opener, 27-9. But I'm not going to underestimate Hobart's team heading into tomorrow's game, especially because they have that home field advantage. Chesterton's on track to have a solid season. They have a handful of returners, including offensive lineman Jack Gearhart and linebacker Logan Chesovich. What's surprising to me, though, is when I was looking back at the stats, Chesterton has never won a sectional in program history. Whoa. And coming from such a large school that has had such success in other sports, I was kind of surprised by that. But again, when you get into that postseason with a competitive Duneland conference, I can see why it's just a tough challenge. But another Times game that we will be covering tomorrow is Hanover Central at Michigan City. I'm pretty sure this is the first time those two programs will face off, so that should be pretty exciting. But across the region, you have Crown Point at Lowell for the leather helmet game, Andrean at Maryville for Battle of Broadway, Griffith at Highland, Portage at Morton, Penn at Valpo. I mean, it's going to be a good week for region football.
Well, you're going to have your hands full. I know your stuff's ramping up a little bit. So good luck with the coverage. Obviously, keep coming back. Keep telling us what you're seeing. And good luck to all those coaches and players out there. This is the funnest part of the year for a lot of teams that don't get to crown it a state champion. So good luck this season. Grace, you're always welcome here.
Thanks, Alan. I'm ready to come on whenever.
Thanks, Grace. So thanks for watching this episode of Spotlight, and make sure to check out some of the events going on at the venue at Horseshoe Casino, including Teresa Caputo August 29th and Lauren Elena on September 6th. To find out about all things happening in the region, go to the Times website at nwi.com or their socials, and please check out our Eat Local 219 app both on iTunes and Android. New episodes drop every week on Thursdays, so be on the lookout. Thanks again for watching, and have a great weekend.